Hello my little storm clouds, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new here. Today we are working on a Roman bath build, and yes, I am supposed to be working on Willow Creek, and I did intend this to be in Willow Creek. When I was doing this, I was imagining like the Roman baths that are in Bath in the UK, which sort of suit the architectural style of here. But I ended up going a little bit more tropical with this and adding quite a lot of things that would not fit with Willow Creek. So I do end up moving this to Tartosa because I just think it worked so much better. So I did want to include things that were actually in real life Roman baths, but then I still wanted to add the fantasy element for it. So there was a lot of greenery, it's very lush and dreamy, which I don't imagine Roman baths to be that green because I feel like they would be in cities. I don't know if that's for definite, but I feel like they would. But the way I've done this, it makes it look like it's out in a tropical area. So I've taken some creative liberties with it. So in the main room that I've done in this sort of semicircle top part here, I do end up changing this to straight just because of the roofing I have to do, but this is the Natatio. I don't know if that is how it's pronounced, but it is basically the open air swimming pool, so the roofing doesn't go across the top of this, it is open to the elements. I also added a calidarium, which is a hot room that is heated with a hot water pool. So when you're looking into this, that is off to the left hand side. And then I also did a frigidarium, which is basically a cool room with an unheated pool or a cold bath. And usually in this area there is a domed roof, which from the inside you can't see that it's a domed roof, but on the outside you can see I've used a domed roof. I also ended up adding a palastrate, I think it's called, which is like an exercise room, but it's like looked like it was outdoors when I was looking them up online. I don't know if some of them are indoors, but a lot of them had like columns going around the outside, so you will see that more near towards the end because it was one of the last things I added, but I did want to add it. And I've put some weights there. The weights can't technically be used, they're just the like decorational thing from the new Love Struck pack, and they do look a little bit modern, but I am limited since it is The Sims and it is a fantasy world, so we're just going to say it's something to do with it being a fantasy world that they look modern. So again, I'm most probably going to pronounce this wrong, but I think it could be Laconica, which is basically a superheated dry room. So basically a sauna. They also did have the steam rooms, and I think that is called a sudatoria, but we don't have steam rooms in The Sims 4, but we do have saunas, but the sauna does release like a steam sort of thing, so it's sort of a bit of a mix. So I did add one of those as well. I added a room that has like 3 showers in it, and they're just open because I feel like back in the day that's what they did. I haven't done research on that, I just feel like people were most probably naked. Especially because men and women actually bathed at separate times when I was looking it up. It was really strange. It was like there were specific times just for women and just for men. And they actually charged women more for using bathhouses, which is wild and yeah, not great. I did add a couple of toilets in here, and I'm sorry to Hattie, you know who you are. I didn't do what you said because for some reason I totally missed what you said about the toilets and only remembered what you said about adding the new blankets from the Love Struck pack for Sims to sit on. And it wasn't until I posted my second video that I saw that, so I might go back in and change that because I really like the idea of having either like a bucket for a toilet by doing like a few little tricks. So I may or may not do that if I remember. And I of course had to add some mosaics in here, so we have that on a few bits of the floors, as well as I found some gallery art and put them on the walls, and they look like mosaics as well. And this whole thing was inspired by a picture that I found on Pinterest. I think the artist is called, I'm just trying to remember off the top of my head, Alizi Pato. And I'm going to put up some of the artwork that I saw that was made in Unreal Engine. It is absolutely amazing, and this is what inspired this full build and why my sort of direction changed from the more UK Roman bath that we have to this sort of style, because I just thought it was absolutely stunning. And I think I said it in the short, but I used a lot of the romantic garden stuff for this, as well as the new, is it called Riviera Retreat? I think it's called that. The colours of these match really well. You can see the wall is from the Resahder Retreat, and all of the statues and the pillars are from the Romantic Garden pack. And obviously, since we have the rounded pools now, I had to add rounded pools in here, and I did do the curve of the main pool as well, having that round at the top. That was in the inspiration picture. But I did add the Frigidarium and the Calidarium. This side here I think is the Calidarium, and I think I move it slightly because it just wasn't fitting in, and I wanted some area for your Sims to be able to sit. And I also wanted to add like a step down, so using the platforms. It was all based around this main room. Like, I did this main room and then had no idea what I was going to do after that. So I just worked my way out from that. I really wanted to use different types of archways throughout, because if you look at a lot of the architectural style that was in Rome and just Italy in general, it is so beautiful, and I really wanted to try and incorporate that a little bit, and it is difficult to do in The Sims. So just to update you on how far I am with this save file, like I said, this was supposed to be for Willow Creek to complete another build for it, and then it's just not worked. But I'll still be releasing the tray file for this one on my Patreon. I have now been slowly releasing tray files for each individual build for paid members on my Patreon, and I know not everyone can afford to be a paid member, so don't worry, it will only be a week after each one goes up. So for example, my Witch's Wagon went up 4 days ago, so the free version will go up in a couple of days, so you can become a free member and be able to download it very, very soon. And it'll be the same for all of the builds. Once it's posted for my paid members, exactly a week later it will be available for free members, and then it will be posted to the gallery at the same time, or the same day at least, for those builds that are complete. The reason they're going up like on individual days is because I'm going in and like adding a little description. It started off as a really, really good description, and then I just got lazy with it with the last two that I've done. But I wanted to put in the description like where the lot is placed in my build, in case that's exactly where you would like to put yours, and for the sizing, that sort of thing. So for the actual save file itself, like I said, I won't be releasing the full save file until Willow Creek is complete, which I know why this is so annoying not being in Willow Creek, because it's one less build, but that is why I've decided to release the tray file. So at least you're getting something. And I do also want to thank the new members on my Patreon. Your names will be at the end of the stream, not the stream, this is not a stream, at the end of the video. Thank you so much, it means a lot that you've supported me, so thank you so much. So my next build, I really want to do a woohoo house, and it's like perfect that we've got Love Struck when we did, as well as like this. I really want to do a woohoo house and the bathhouse, so having the curved pools come in at the time that I wanted to do this build, and a woohoo house, I feel like Love Struck, there's going to be some really good items that I can use for a woohoo house. So when I say woohoo house, I hope you know what I mean. I'm just being safe because I'm on YouTube and I don't want to be demonetized. If you have any recommendations of what you want to see in this woohoo house, please let me know, or if there's a specific style. I've been looking up a few and I don't know exactly which way I want to go yet, but I do want this one to be able to fit into Willow Creek, and I've gone for a very medieval sort of style with that, so I want to sort of fit that theme. If you want to as well, I do have a Discord. It is always linked in my description. I very rarely talk in there because I forget I have it. But if you do ask a question in there, I am always happy to reply. But there is areas where you can post pictures. There is like an inspiration section. So if there's something that you've seen that you'd want me to build for this save file, feel free to post it there and I might use it as inspiration. Or recreate it depending on what it is. And I'm also just taking suggestions for what other builds I can do within the save file. So I've already got like a couple of houses or lots that they're set as residential, just houses, but they sort of work as other things. For example, my Nectar Maker's Wagon, there's a little like bar in there, but it is just set as a home. Whereas this one here is going to be set as a pool. I do have a gym, so I want things that'll be not just basic houses, that will work as other lots. So like for example, the gym is actually a training ground, like a battle training ground. and I've managed to fit in the gym items to sort of look like they would work with a medieval training ground. I feel like I want to do a, what's it called? Is it called a battle siegement? I think it's called, where they have like the tent set up ready for battle. I really want to do something like that, so I might do that at some point as well. I think it could be fun. I really like to do builds that are a little bit different and not just a basic house. I've literally only got one basic house, I think, in this save file so far. I will be adding more, obviously. I feel like I do need something like that. And I do want to add more of the magic element soon. I've not really done much when it comes to the magic side of things. It's all very humanized, shall I say, like this is the human world. I just think Willow Creek gives human world vibes, whereas some of the other worlds might fit really well with more magic based things, like witches, like elves, and just all that sort of thing. There was many different races, so yeah, you know what I mean. All of those will be coming in future builds at some point. So this is the area that Hattie recommended adding the rug from the new Love Struck pack. It's not a rug, it is a picnic blanket, but I put a couple of the rugs down and then I ended up putting a picnic blanket down so your Sims can actually sit in that area and they can have a little picnic. It's also a little bit inspired because I did go to like this little medieval sort of fair thing when I went down to visit my family. Me and my dad went to this medieval thing. It was just a really small one. It was at one of the museums down there, and I got to try archery. By try I mean I already do archery, but I do recurve archery, and I wanted to try another type of archery because I've been looking at doing traditional longbow or something else that is on the traditional sort of route, but I'm not exactly sure which way to go. So getting to do that was a bit more fun. The end of it did just have a big like rubber stopper on, which was weird, but the guy said I should definitely try it because he said I have like a natural talent for it, but I think that is because I've obviously done it already and I'm self-taught. And there was only slight differences with doing the traditional compared to the normal recurve. Like the stance is slightly different and the way you hold the string was slightly different, but I've tried that version of holding the string on my recurve but anyway, so it wasn't massively different. Had the little like tent set up, they had people doing like sword fighting. It was fun. I had a really nice day with my dad and it was also nice weather, which was great. But yeah, it just inspired me more, and my dad suggested this for me and he didn't know I was supposed to be coming down to see my family at this point, so it just like timing was perfect because I was already going down for a christening. It's like really sad, like I see all the time, like especially around this time of year, that there's like Ren fairs and stuff going on in America and we just don't have that sort of thing. I've seen a few sort of things popping up, but they're always down in London or near London, and I'm at the opposite side of the country. By opposite, I mean I'm up. I live up north and there is nothing like that anywhere near where I am. I really wish there was because I would go 100%. And I feel like I wouldn't even need to get dressed up because I am currently just sat at my computer dressed like a pirate, just because that is like my normal attire now. I've just realised how long this video is. Sorry this is a super long video. There was just a lot of details and I did do a hell of a lot of it off camera as well, just because sometimes when I'm on camera I get more stressed. I'm like, oh my god, I need to find an item and putting it down because I'm sat scrolling through the catalogue for 10 years. So I do sometimes switch my camera off just for a short period of times while I'm like looking through and adding a couple of details. And then if I feel like something like this where I'm adding a big change, I'll bring the camera back into it. So I added 2 of these fountains. I did one on this right hand side and one on the left. And then I do a path going around to the back, so I do remove some of these plants, obviously, so you can get through. I don't know if I even should doing the fountain on the left hand side because it's exactly the same as this one on the right hand side, so I might not show it. And I just added plants around the place. I did later on go in and add some flowers that had quite a lot of red in them, just because I used a tree that had this like red flower on it and it was so pretty, so I wanted to really tie everything together. So this is where the little gym area is. Like I said, it's not really a gym, it's just they did have these in a lot of Roman baths, so I wanted to make sure it was something like it was added, and they seem to always have like loads of columns going around the edge. And I did fence off the entire place at the end with a debug fence, again from the Love Struck pack. Really loving the Love Struck pack debug mode. And I did end up adding a mosaic outside as well, so I just put like a normal stone floor down, and then in the centre I did a mosaic. Again, I don't know if I did that off camera, I most probably did. I was trying to add a spandrel around these and nothing was working, or the colour didn't fit very well with the pillars that I was using, but these pillars worked best for the style of the rest of the build. So what I ended up doing is using I think it's a wall item from the Jungle Adventure pack, and just raising it up so it sits on top of the pillars. And this just looked way better than any of the spandrels did. And because I like them so much, what I ended up doing is actually going around the base of the entire build with this thing that I put around the top, the wall item. And I just think it added a little extra detail. You can see I've done one there. This one's slightly different, the top part's a bit darker, but I kept with it in this section I think, but then on the rest of it used the same one that I used around the top of those columns. I used a lot of these as well throughout the place. When you size down, the flame is a little bit too high. So on some of them I've faked it where I've sized it down really small and then put one in the basement and raise it up through the floor, and then one of them isn't lit and the other one is, so the flame does sit in the correct place even though it is made small. So yeah, I did show me doing the other side down there. So I'm just adding in the last details here, adding the little bits of dirt around the place. You can see there around the base of the build I put those wall details on, just adding plants everywhere, adding a couple of statues around the place. I love these statues so much. I don't really use them that often because there's not many builds that can use them, but it worked so well for this build. But that is pretty much it for this build. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!